welcome back. You're watching SABC News Channel. Independent and impartial, we continue our rolling coverage of the ANC's 55th National Congress underway in Nasrec, Johannesburg. The party has adopted the credential report. That was done at 2200 hours on Saturday after long debate over who should be allowed to vote at the conference. My colleague, SABC News anchor Voyo Mvoko, at the conference to give us a feel of today's event. So, Voyo, what I thought was interesting coming out of that, and please correct me if this is a misunderstanding, is that the difference this time in the voting is that unlike previously where it was the president, then the deputy president, and so forth, that the order now has changed, that it'll be the president, the secretary general, the chairperson positions voted on, and then the rest of the top six.
Well, that's what we're hearing, but someone was questioning the logic of this because it could potentially at least mean that other people may have a second bite at it, which, as one analyst was saying, would be unfair. But of course, I mean, conference is adopting the reports that will in so many ways affect, you know, the rest of the proceedings or how conference will proceed from this point onwards. But of course, the focus has been certainly over the past hour around the last minute lobbying that is currently taking place, where now the various provinces are trying to influence one another. The horse trading, as it has been referred to, with all, of course, the connotations of that particular phrase. But what is happening now is that everyone is waiting to see what is going to happen next. I mean, this is our makeshift studio. We continue to wait outside in our makeshift newsroom. Our team of journalists and producers are also waiting. I mean, they'll be burning the midnight oil outside in the entire sort of media precinct, if I may call it that. Journalists from other broadcasting houses, from our print media, everyone is waiting, but also hoping that we won't have to stay here until tomorrow morning. But from what we're hearing, things are proceeding, things are moving. There doesn't seem to be hold-ups inside conference. So hopefully the nomination process is going to start sooner rather than later. But before that happens, there has to be those constitutional amendments which may determine the number of officials that this conference will have to vote for, whether it moves from 6 to 8 or maybe 9 even. We're waiting to see. But here with me in the studio, of course, are our members of our panel of analysts, Dr. Vilakazi and Professor Defu. Well, for the three of us, I mean, this we're going to have a last bite on this. Not a great deal of movement inside the plenary, we are told, but there's movement nevertheless. There doesn't seem to be a lot of arguments or anything stalling things at the moment. It's just that they still have to go through the adoption of all those reports and then go to the constitutional amendments and then the nomination process. I was reading earlier Dr. Nkosazana Dlamine's tweet from yesterday saying she's still, you know, in it. If someone, if she's nominated from the floor, she's in it. So there are still people very hopeful beyond the people we regard as being front runners.
Yeah, may I just be the first to take a bite here? Just latch on to this one of Dr. Nkosazana Zuma. Women are their worst enemies. They will talk about patriarchy. They will talk about how bad men are. But when they have the opportunity to change their lot, they betray their own. I hope they hear me out there, right? If it is not Nkosazana, whoever else, I've heard it in the spaces that I operated in and at executive level. Women would always tell you, you get better support from men than from women. And I heard Ismamuliko Kubai, the minister, also saying the same thing, that who must we blame? Here are women raising their hands, but other women are not supporting them. Yes, Zublu, that's my last one on this vigil, where we are waiting for the Magi from the east to tell us where the manga is to go and see the little one who will be born in the next 24 hours.
Apparently, there were some conversations this afternoon, again, where there was an attempt, I would imagine, at consolidation. In other words, getting people like Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, people like Elinde Sisulu to rally behind the candidature of Dr. Zwelini Mkhize. But a lot of people, I mean, when that rumor started surfacing, it was too little, too late, because the campaigns of the other people, you know, hardly took off at the ground. Now, maybe the focus should indeed be on the horse trading we've been hearing about over the past couple of hours.
Vuyo, I just want to start by saying, you know, adding from what Prof. Tefo has just spoken about, the issue of women's support. I actually do not think that you know, if patriarchy has got to be done away with, that the burden of doing so should be in the shoulders of women. I just wanted to point that out, that you know, I think it's important for the ANC to know that transformation around issues of gender and feminism within the African National Congress is not the responsibility of the Women's League only. It is the responsibility of the African National Congress in its entirety, including our men, brothers and fathers and lovers, and you know, who are members of the African National Congress, and it is in the constitution of the African National Congress, and I want to believe, or perhaps challenge the conference to remember that this is constitutional. The ANC operates on a gender parity rule of 50-50, right? The Women's League has played its cards. You know, Mambale Tambeke spoke earlier on to say, when we were actually thinking about nominations and doing our survey, we actually, you know, made sure that it was 50-50. We appointed 3 women and 3 men, but have the men done that? So it's a challenge for me that I'm posing to say, why is it that we relegate this responsibility of gender parity to the bodies of women within the African National Congress? Fair enough, the Women's League has not been seen to be supporting women, but have the men been supporting women? Why is it that men are not actually insisting? For instance, in this particular conference, you know, with this new system of voting, where somebody can then challenge through the 25% threshold to be able to ensure that issues of young people are taken care of, representation of women is being taken care of. Can we challenge the conference to say, in this new process, if it happens that the president, the secretary, and the TG are men, can then the conference say, let us ensure 50-50? The women candidates that have put their arms and say, we are up to lead this organization, can they be risen through that particular new process to ensure 50-50? Can the young people from the ANC Youth League also be risen through that process? And we just have to wait and see how far is the ANC really committed to its constitution. And I can tell you now, the outcomes will be disappointing. Minister Mamoloko said that the ANC remains a patriarchal institution, and patriarchy, Vuyo, does not only subject women, it also subjects men, because it is an institution by nature that actually ensures that it oppresses anyone, including men, not just women, anyone that seeks to resist its forms of oppression that are masculinized, right? Anything, including men in society who are saying we would like to lead and share power with women, patriarchy will punish those men. And within the African National Congress, I'm very, very sure there could be men, you know, who are saying we would like to support women to rise into positions of power. But the status of patriarchy within the ANC punishes those men, perhaps marginalizes those men too. So it's not an institution that just subjects women, but it subjects everybody in society, because it's about socialization of our roles, you know, in society, socialization of
I
men
want to come in
certain ways, right? So I wanted to point that out, you know, you know, perhaps also, you know, differing a little bit with the Prof. Tefo in that regard. I really do not think that we should insist that the responsibility of gender parity must be that of women within the African National Congress only. Yes, they must play a part. Everybody has got to play. The revolution of gender equality is a revolution of all of us. It needs everyone, all of us. We are loving each other. Essentially, it's a revolution of love, right? It is we love each other, Vuyo. We have always loved each other. We make babies, we build communities, we build governments. Without each other, there will never be communities. There will never be political parties. Why is it that now when it comes to running a country, that changes, you know?
Okay. Very briefly, Prof, something has just happened.
Okay. But at an academic level, I hear what she's saying. They must take the lead. I can only help you when you need my help. And above all, at a later stage, I want us to admit, women...
Okay. Prof, I'm sorry, I have to disrupt you like this. Something has just happened.